The most notable trees in A Song of Ice and Fire are called weirwood trees because they act like that in association with the river of time, like a weir on this river, like a comb. Perhaps their roots are a literal comb, but this is more something happening in the magical realm. It's a mythological idea. You might think of a human life beginning in a spring in the mountains, which becomes a stream, which becomes a river, finds its way to the seeming endlessness of the sea and death. But the weirwood trees impact on the river of time. Through the weirwood trees, time can be interacted with and even manipulated. It also feels like an Yggdrasil reference because of how Yggdrasil, the world tree, the roots of that tree in Norse mythology stretch down to the cold underworld below the earth. Someone or something that could travel between these different realms would be very powerful. There is a squirrel called Ratatoska who scales the world tree Yggdrasil. Even down to those roots, even up to the highest heavens. And Arya is referred to at least as a squirrel. And I believe she climbs a tree. And she is very associated with death. Like a Valkyrie, picking out her chosen new member of the dead army of Odin. Valkyrie's job is to walk amongst the slain on a battlefield. Almost like a tooth fairy, checking that you've kept hold of your tooth. But in this case, it would be an axe. Or some other sign that you died a worthy death. That the Valkyrie will be on the lookout for, in order to make their decision to escort, to guide the soul of the dead warrior to the wild hunt of Odin's army that rides through the sky. And this can be called psychopomp. Any sort of a guide to escort the soul of the dead in that other world, realm, whatever it may consist of. And Arya has a list of people she has marked out to be taken to the underworld by her. By literally killing them. But also like a squirrel, she travels between realms. She navigates passageways underneath King's Landing. She escapes through the sewer, smelling awful. She emerges outside the city walls. There are tree roots piercing the flesh of Blood Raven in his green seer cave beyond the wall. He is accessing the power of the weirwoods. By literally merging with them physically. And these roots are pale, like worms, we're told, and this is interesting sort of matrix of confluence, crisscrossing streams in these words which all have associations with each other. Roots, worms, bowels, intestines, dragons, serpents, maybe even fingers, threads of time, roots go under the ground. So there is that clear worm association and bowels association. We talk of the bowels of a place, like the environment under the ground, in the basement of a building, or what have you, cave system. Rabbit warren. It feels dark and unknown and earthy and natural matter. The fertile soil which life springs from, but is an amalgamation of dead, decaying matter, leaves and so on. You can see the roots, bowels, connection, and bowels are full of shit, and so are sewers. So I think this is another connection for Arya with all of these things, that she goes through the sewers deliberately to escape the hunt for Starks after Ned's death. It's scary. think the bowels and even the genitals they're in the lower chakras. The higher chakras being towards the head. And the third eye of transcendent spirituality. I think Arya is very stuck in the lower chakras, and I'm not sure that she will ascend. And this brings me to Neumann. I can talk about that another time. Humanity and chaos. The chaos at the start of the world. The chaos of decay and blurring of forms. Its beginnings, and it's kind of in opposition to what feels human, especially in the West, a seeking of self-knowledge, of becoming more individual, away from that ambiguous mix of the soil or the sea. I think Arya is not exactly comfortable with that entirely, but much more so than other people, I think. She finds teachers, mentors, and the Hound is a kind of a father figure, even friend-ish, a protector, and yet she denies him a quick death. She does not seem to bond much with other people. She has connections with people, but she is very alone in her story, in her character. She has accepted it, perhaps in a traumatized way. And she kind of embraces her shifting identity. You know, she comes out of those sewers smelling the most awful, and then attempts to ask the guards to let her back in because she's a noblewoman, and they look at her. Well, firstly, they think she's a boy, but also she smells like shit, and she's covered in filth. So clearly that is a hilarious idea. And later on in Bravos, in the Temple of Black and White, she will actually learn to give herself a new face. And be encouraged to think of herself as not Arya Stark, but no one. And indeed, she has the ability to wear any face. So who is she really? It's metaphorically and literally what's going on for her at that point. Shifting identity in terms of an actual cut off face. Merging in a way that's indistinguishable to the people not in the know, at least, around her. She appears to be that face, that person with that face, and so she has physically changed. And also at that time, she's not just reflecting on her identity, but being told what her identity must be, i.e. a non-identity. So Arya is a strange figure. Never thought of as magical, but she's mixed up with all of these non-human, beyond the human sort of ideas.